I think that the time has come.
My name is Anthony, and I sing and play guitar in Bayside.
I'm Jack, and I play guitar in Bayside.
And then there's a short guy named Chris who plays drums.
And then a taller guy named Nick who plays bass.
Tall in our world. Tall
in our world
tall
is
is
like
a relative
5'8".
term when it with Bayside. Nick is 5'8", and we call him the tall guy. It's called Cult. The new album's called Cult. Our fan base is always has always referred to themselves as a cult, the cult, even, you know, and so, you know, for one, it was a bit of an homage to the fans, and also to us, this record was a little bit like a greatest hits record without using any old songs. So we felt like it was, you know, it was almost like a discography, and cult has been a word that's been closely tied with the band forever. So, you know, we thought that it was a good, accurate representation of Bayside as a whole.
Kind of a sneaky way of doing another self-titled record.
Yeah, pretty much. We felt like every song on the record could have been
on a different record.
Could have been on another record.
We've gotten out from a lot of people who are saying, like, you know, this song reminds me of a song off of Walking Wounded. This song sounds like it could have been off of Shudder. This song sounds like it could have been off your self-titled. This sounds like a Killing Time song. It's kind of like, oh, like reconnect with musically what we might have been doing 10 years ago, 8 years ago, 6 years ago, 2 years ago.
Lyrically is the biggest difference for me. I definitely, with a lot of our past records, Killing Time included, I talked a lot about situational things. I talked a lot. Something would happen, and then I would write about that situation, or I'd write about how I felt, or what I did, or what they did in that situation. And with Cult, it's a lot. It's sort of broader. It's a lot, sort of more about what comes next and what led me to here and what comes from here, you know. And then as far as the music goes, I mean, we really try to put out the best Bayside record.
Yeah, I mean,
every time.
Yeah, we kind of bunker down and write and rewrite and rewrite and rewrite. But I know for me personally, I ended up starting writing, listening to a lot of very different influences than I had in the past, and kind of had to really go back to the drawing board, because I was kind of just kind of straying from the path a little bit too much. So there's a lot of conscious decisions that are made to kind of stay true to what we are, but improve on it in a lot of ways.
Staying the course is big in Bayside. We definitely, we sort of think we figured out what we're supposed to sound like a long time ago. We stick with that. Shep Goodman and Aaron Aceta produced the record. Shep did our self-titled and Walking Wounded records 8 years ago.
10 years ago.
8, 9, 10 years ago. So it was cool to, like, you know, go back to him. We spent about a week in Woodstock, and then about a week like Brewster. Around Brewster, New York. So yeah, all kind of sort of upstate-ish. It was great. I mean, our last record, Killing Time, was the first time we sort of did one of those woodsy records. We sort of locked ourselves in a barn in the woods, and we loved it. We loved the process, so we really wanted to do it that way again this time. And I would imagine that it might become just what we do. I think we really sort of found our comfort spot. It's nice for creating. I mean, all distractions and noise and static are great for writing. It's, you know, it's great to be in the city for writing, you know, because that's sort of inspiring. But comes time to actually recording, I think the distractions get in the way.
I feel like in terms of our approach to the studio, we must be pretty easy to work with, because like I feel like we are a rock band and we're trying to represent what we are when we go into a studio in terms of like getting tones. And for just guitar, we kind of get something that we like, and then that's going to be the album. I think that's something that helps us to translate between album and live show as well. There aren't too many. I mean, we like to add there's a fair amount of like production tricks that are used. There's a lot of like keypads and stuff like that. But in terms of we want to make an album that is going to be represented live in a way where it's going to feel pretty seamless. So people aren't going to be like, this song is going to feel empty without this and this and this and this. And everything that we add onto songs in the studio will help accent parts, but nothing that's added after is essential to the song's integrity.
The headspace that we were in writing this thing, at least for me, was stress. This was like one of the more stressful records to write. Sometimes a song comes naturally, and sometimes it's a labor. And with this record was really like it was a labor. You know, I really never felt like I got it right until the last second. The song wasn't done until we mailed it to the label.
Even just in the studio, rewriting, and then I remember leaving the studio and just being like, I don't even know what this sounds like.
Yeah.
I quit. I'm going home.
At no point in writing one of the songs on this record did I say, okay, that song's done, I could stop worrying about it, I'll start working on the next one. And never, that point never came, and it usually comes.
It's a weird thing too, because I feel like for the first majority of our career with like Victory, the process between writing, recording, and releasing a record was a month and a half or 2 months. Like we would get in to write a record, we'd write for a month, we'd go straight into a studio for a month, and it would be in the stores like a few weeks later. So we didn't have the luxury of overthinking and really getting into our heads. So it's an interesting place to be now, where we have the opportunity to use a lot more time to write and to really kind of perfect the songs. But it is really a double-edged sword, where it's a great thing to be able to really write and improve the songs, but having that luxury is also just a huge burden, where you're kind of constantly second-guessing everything you do. There's only, I think on all of our records, there are maybe 1 or 2 songs on each record that just, for reasons, either fans that's been the song that nobody's ever requested to hear live, that end up just going unplayed. But we pretty much, on most of the records, we played the majority of the songs live at some point or other. Everything's fair game.
Everything's fair game is fun. I mean, really, this is something we go back and forth on every minute of our existence, is like what songs to play live, what the set list should look like. Really, I mean, my approach to the sets is that, different people in the band have different sort of ideas, and we sort of try to meet in the middle on what a set list should look like. To me, a set list, I want to make the set list that's going to just make the fans the most excited, and if that is playing all new songs, then I'll play all new songs. If that's playing all old songs, then I'll play all old songs. I'll play all covers. You know what I mean? Like, I love all of our songs. I love playing music. I don't care if we're representing each record enough or not. Like, I don't have a score sheet like that. You know what I mean? Like, I just want to make a set that's exciting for the fans. And throughout the course of a tour, I'll see, to me, if a song isn't working, if it's not going over, if people seem bored during it, then I want to replace it with something else, so that's my approach. Playing a show is a series of like being introverted and being extroverted, you know what I mean? And you have to be able to flip the switch. So when the crowd is really in it, you have to like give it to them and be part of it and connect with, give back to what they're giving you. They're not giving you anything, you also can't let that phase you, so you have to sort of switch and sort of block it out, and now you're playing music because you love to play music, and you don't care that if there's anybody in front of you, if they're singing, if they're not. So you have to do that, and in that way you sort of sell the song. You're convincing them that this is great, and the next time you come to the show, you're going to love this as much as you loved everything else.
And it's like I met you years ago, and we're picking up right where we left off, right where we left off.
Even if you like your favorite band's new record, you don't want to go and see them play the whole record. You want to hear them play some songs from the new record and some of, and all the old stuff that you like too. People don't want to see that. They may say they do, but they don't. We do requests and we do things that people ask for all the time. And we know what fans want more than they do. They ask for things that they absolutely don't want. Probably our 2 or 3 most requested songs ever. Anytime we play them,
just dead band
it's
audience.
Just dead. People don't think about the set list the way that we have to think about it, the way that there are constrictions that you have to stick to. So somebody could say, I love the new record, play the whole new record. They're like, okay, we'll play the whole new record. So we're gonna play 18 songs tonight. That's 11. Right? So we have 7 more songs that we could play. So that means we're not going to play this song that you love from the old record. We're not going to play this song that you love from the old record. And then that person who asked you to play the whole new record is like,
they go online and
you
they
didn't
tell
play
you
any
that
of my favorite songs. Do you guys do any covers? You guys should cover this band. Like, all right, we'll play the whole new record, and we'll do a cover of this band that only you know that band, and all the other 1,000 people here won't know it, and it'll be a great show. Well, that's the thing. If we play 18 songs and 11 are from the new record, then we can play 1 song from each other record. That doesn't cover much ground. And we take a lot of requests seriously. We definitely, like when we're making the set list for tour, we are definitely paying attention to what the majority of people want to hear, and where people want us to play, stuff like that. You know, we definitely pay attention to that stuff. What kind of merch people are looking for. We try to do it as much as we can on the social media stuff. We don't take a lot of this criticism seriously.
No. We've been pretty fortunate, though, in terms of, as far as bands go, in terms of the level of criticism. I mean, it's impossible not to see it, but none of us take it personally, but we've been pretty lucky to be a band that hasn't...
We don't get a lot of hate. Yeah, we don't get as
unscathed.
much hate as a lot of other bands. Dude, we've definitely been on tour with other bands, and like I can't believe the things people say to some other bands that like they're going up to a band and telling them that like what happened to your voice? Your voice used to be much better. Like I hate your new records. I hope you only play old stuff today. People never say stuff like that though.
No, not at all. As far as the social media too, like our fan base has been one that's been sort of built. I mean, the whole cult vibe is kind of built around the fact that we've been very available is the wrong word, but we've been very involved with our fan base from the beginning. So I think that that's part of the reason that we have such a tight knit fan base and such a dedicated fan base is that we have been, we've been constantly aware of just the temperature of everything. So we are very much as band members part of our fan base as well.
Definitely. It does get hard. It gets hard, just I think personally to separate, like in person kind of stuff to, outside of social networks and stuff like that.
People see you and they're like, oh, I know everything about you.
And
like,
and they know you, but they're a stranger and they don't realize they're a stranger. Like when they open the bus door, you know what I mean?
I'm coming up.
Like, hey, what's up? Like, if I opened your car door, you'd freak out. You know what I mean? If like some stranger came and walked in your house,
just eating breakfast,
you'd shoot him if he had a gun. You know what I mean? So, it's weird. It's weird. It's hard to. You're not always in the mood to. Last night I was sitting in a Chinese restaurant after the show, and I was on the phone with my wife, and this guy walks over and he pulls a chair at the table that I'm sitting at, and he's like, "Hey man, do you mind if I sit down?" It's like, dude, I do mind, and you'll never understand why, like you're gonna walk out of this restaurant thinking I'm the biggest jerk in the world, but like you just don't understand, like I'm on the phone with my wife and I just finished playing and you definitely want to talk about Bayside and I don't want to talk about Bayside. I don't want to talk, you know what I mean? Like if you want to say hello, if you want to ask a question, if you want to take a picture, that's totally cool. But I don't want to have dinner with you, Because you definitely want to talk about Bayside and I don't feel like talking about the meaning of all the songs right now, like while I'm having dinner, you know what I mean? I think that Bayside and like the music that I leave is definitely a part of my legacy, but I don't know that it is my legacy, Hey, we're Bayside. Look for us on Last.fm.